Welcome back to Insights Unlocked. Today we're joined by Jehad Affoneh, Chief Design Officer at Toast, who I recorded live at the UXDX conference in New York City. Jehad shares his pulling the thread methodology that helped the team at Toast transform the customer experience of its all-in-one digital platform that's built for restaurants. I apologize if the background noise is too distracting during the interview. It was due to the conference environment as we talked while waiting in line for happy hour. Do you have a product, marketing, or design challenge you're trying to solve? The pulling the thread methodology may be just what you need to unravel a solution. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Insights Unlocked, an original podcast from UserTesting, where we bring you candid conversations and stories with the thinkers, doers, and builders behind some of the most successful digital products and experiences in the world, from concept to execution.
So we're at UXDX, and we're at, you just presented. Well, let me start over. Can you just tell me your name and what you do?
Yeah, my name is Jehad Affoneh, Chief Design Officer at Toast.
And for those that don't know, what is Toast?
So Toast is what we call a vertical SaaS company. Our main domain is we do software for restaurants. Our mission is to help the restaurant community to delight their guests, do what they love and thrive.
And you had a presentation today. I don't know the name, but I kind of think of it as pulling the thread.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about the presentation?
Yeah. So we've been going through a bunch of different transformations at Toast to deliver a forever improved customer experience for our customers. And we've been thinking a lot about how do we do these transformations effectively. And as part of our transformation support experience, we kind of learned a ton about how do we use a method we call internally pull the thread, which is basically how do you start, if you think about a complex problem as a thread ball, or a ball of thread, I don't know, the method is basically how do you find the right edge of that thread ball to pull, and how is pulling that thread enabling you to solve more and more problems until you untangle that complexity. It focuses on the idea that, a lot of times instead of solving complexity, we just learn to manage it. We build processes around it. We learn to figure out how to deal with it. We teach our customers how to deal with it. This is an approach of saying, actually, we want to untangle the complexity instead of just managing the complexity by starting from a thread and pulling that thread.
And so how do you begin to unroll the ball of thread?
I like unroll. I'll take that. So I think the first piece is understanding, do you have a deep understanding of the customer journey, both from a customer's lens, but also from an internal lens? What are the operations supporting that journey? What do people who are involved in supporting and helping customers say they need to improve? So as you think about these pain points, the next step is to think about what are the themes within these pain points that can point you to the right thread that can serve a subset of your customers, a cohort of your customers, but is actually scalable to a larger set of customers in the future. If you start pulling on that thread, are you actually starting to solve other problems related but not immediately the initial problem you're solving? And the more you pull, is that getting faster and faster across the complexity of that problem? But so kind of to summarize, you start with, do I understand the pain points? Do I have a way to solve these pain points with customers? Do I have what we call a primary avenue? Could be user interface, an app, something else. And then do I have a cohort of customers that I can start experimenting with? If the answer to all these three is yes, then you at least have a thread to pull. Whether it's the right thread or not, you'll discover as you pull it.
Why? And I think as you went through, this is not a theoretical thing, this is something you guys have done. You found out you didn't have that primary vehicle, right?
Yeah.
And so you had to develop something. So that's, I guess, when you start asking the right questions, then you find out what you need to solve the rest of it. Is that right?
Yeah. And you end up solving other problems too in the process that you might have not envisioned initially as the biggest problems or really important problems, but actually they're important. They may look like a small knot in the thread, but it's actually really important for the thread to be smooth across the board end to end.
And for your customers in the restaurant business, I mean, can you just talk about sort of like an example of why this is important to them and how in the past they would have tried to address this and how, kind of quickly how they can solve it now?
Yeah, we have the best customers in the world. Restaurants are really tough businesses to run. They are the center of, we're standing in line about to go to a restaurant basically. They're the center of their communities, and they're really, really busy, especially during rush hours, peak hours. And the way we serve them, we call it a hospitality mindset. The way we serve them is a representation in the way we enable them to serve their guests and their community. So, customers deal with multitude of different problems, and we want Toast to be the piece of their operations that is that is helping them solve these problems versus adding to them. Also, we want to make sure that Toast is enabling them to solve other problems, and that we are their partner, not just their software vendor.
And prior to this sort of unraveling the ball of thread, you would have had issues where if they were trying to call about a problem, they might not be calling on the right phone, or they're trying to run back and forth inside the kitchen, out in the dining room, whatever it might be, and so they're dropping off a live chat or whatever it might be. Is that? Yeah,
so restaurants are really busy, and if you think about a restaurant environment, it's loud, lots of things are going on. If you think of the person operating a restaurant or the GM of a restaurant, there's a dozen problems they're dealing with every 15 minutes. They're trying to figure out, are sales right? Are my employees doing the right thing? Am I helping support my employees? Are my guests happy? All these things. And things break in a restaurant, right? Actually, if you think about it, hardware or software in a restaurant is the most likely hardware or software to break. You drop a beer on your point of sale system. Someone uses the card reader the wrong way. Someone drops something on the floor. Like, they're actually an environment where things break unintentionally. So when things don't go as well, especially at rush hour, just as an example to take a specific time, what do? What happens? Initially, it was customers would call. Support is, we care deeply about customer service. But you can call from a phone number we've never seen before. You're a person who just started yesterday at this restaurant. You're not going to go to the office and call from the landline. You're going to pick up your cell phone and call our number. Let's spend a couple minutes knowing who you are. And if your restaurant name is barbecue restaurant, which one? Which one of the hundreds on Toast are you talking about? Which city, which location, we moved from that into, we know who you are exactly, which location you're calling from, sometimes even the problem you're facing, because we can quickly run diagnostics. When you describe it quickly, we can run a bunch of different things using AI to solve some of the initial simple problems that you're solving. All these things we were not able to do with our existing way of providing customers with help. So that's been a transformation for both us and customers.
And with your project, you just rolled it out. You've been testing it. What have the results been so far?
Yeah, so customers love it, agents love it, and for the Toast Now app itself, which is kind of the app companion to the restaurant, we monitor customer feedback really closely. It's both really popular. Customers love it. It's a 4.9 stars on the App Store. We hear a ton of feedback from customers that it's changed the way they operate. It's been a lot of, it's been a privilege to see how customers see this as a tool to help them.
In your presentation, you mentioned it's like a 12-month to 18-month sort of process, and it's successful. So, I think you just addressed it. How do you feel about that? Like, you personally?
Yeah, I think it's one of the best things about working at Toast is that you're making daily impact in the lives of folks who are, in some cases trying to have a business survive. In other cases, they're trying to help their employees thrive. In other cases, it's, the changes we make impact their lives of real people in real communities, trying to do real honest work. So it's really satisfying. Like, it's awesome to do work every single day, but it's also amazing to look back at the 12 to 18 months and look at the impact you've made. Sometimes when you're in it, it's a very different feeling. You're doing the work, you're pushing things around, but looking back, it's such an honor to work with an amazing team and to serve customers who, seriously, we have the best customers in the world.
Excellent. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right.
Want to keep the conversation going? You can find the show notes at usertesting.com/podcast. If you haven't already, don't forget to follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, or Google Play so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, please share it with a friend or leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And until next time, this is Insights Unlocked, an original podcast from UserTesting.